fraternity of girth, fogapparel.com. Look, you know the deal with them. They got t-shirts, they got hoodies, they even got socks. Did you know that? They have socks. I need to get a pair of the socks. That's something that is sorely missing. They got bags, they got fanny packs, they got stickers, they got everything that's about strength, man. If you're about thickness, you're about strength, you're about living large, Fraternity of Girth is for you. Fog Apparel. Also, if you got an event coming up, if you're running a Highland Games, a strongman, anything like that, any kind of event, you need t-shirts, you need fulfillment, you need that stuff taken care of, you need the art taken care of, you can go to Fraternity of Girth. Go to the fulfillment link on the website at fogapparel.com. They'll hook you up, man. Best in the business. Go to fogapparel.com, use code HEAVYLIGHT. All one word. Check it. We got results. We are still kind of limping along as a sport, as I've mentioned many a time, but there are some games happening. So I do like to jump on and go through some of the stuff that is at least, excites me, right? And I want to say, I know I've missed a lot of games. I know a lot of you have put scores in, but it's really hard to determine right now just because of the state of things, like what's a backyard and what's not, what's being maintained as a games and what's not. So I'm trying to hit like the major points. When we get going, we get a season going next year, maybe games and festivals start coming back. We'll talk a little bit, it'll probably be a little bit more thorough. There'll be a little more results roundup. But as it is right now, I'm kind of doing my best guess. So if I miss your games, I'm sorry, but I'm doing the best I can. I'm alone in a studio here in my own thoughts with some variants of hard seltzer every week. I've become absolutely a hard seltzer drinker. I've gone from in my life, I've gone from, standard college drinker of cheap beer and liquor to craft beer drinker in my late 20s and 30s, and then just settling into hard seltzer because it's just easier. It's like drinking a bunch of LaCroix. I can drink a bunch of them and then be drunk by the end. So really, I'm just looking for efficiency is what I'm looking for at this point in my life. But that's what you're getting. You're not getting a thorough scorekeeper. I'm sorry. I know a lot of you are putting in a lot of effort into your games. If I don't mention the result, it's not that I don't appreciate all the effort you're putting in. It's just that, come on, guys. I can't be bothered to think of anybody but myself. So I will, that being said, I'm going to go through I'm kind of cherry picking a few of the ones from this last week. I know I went through Lightweight Nationals, and obviously, yes, that one's near and dear to my heart. We already went through that. But let's look at, I want to start with, it looks like, what is the first one that I looked at here? Of course, I looked through all these and just completely forgot about what they were. There was the Pillow Talk Games in Sandy Hook, Virginia. I don't think that had a ton of people. Kirksville Games, the HASA Championships. HASA. What does HASA stand for? Sometimes when I see these, I don't remember them. I just know generally what they are. HASA. That's probably Highland Athletics of Southern. It was in Missouri. What could that be? Highland Athletics Sports Association? Let's give it that. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I'm never going to look these up. I'm just always going to guess the acronyms. Like GLSAA. I know that one actually. Great Lakes Scottish Athletics Association, Athlete Association. Anyway, we could go through a lot of those. Okay, let's look at what happened at the HASA Championships. Amateur A, first place, Jacob Lott with a good games. How many events did they do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What did y'all not do? You did not do light hammer. Either it was AD laziness or it was they didn't want to kill people. Or they didn't have room. Fuck it. Throw the light hammer. If he dies, he dies. Jacob Lott with a 42.5. Braemar Stone, 46.9. Is that right? I can't read from this far. I'm leaning back in my chair. Is that 48.9 or is that 46.9? Oh, man, I'm getting old. That's a 48.9. You got to sit forward in your chair if it means 2 feet for somebody's stone. You can't rob a man of 2 feet on a stone because you're too lazy. So there you go, 48.9. Big throw, man. Heavyweight for distance, 36.4. Lightweight for distance, 75.9. Heavy hammer, 96.2. Caber, 12.05. Sheaf, 28. Weight for height, 15. Good job, Jacob. And in the B class, Jesse Stemple getting the win. Good job, buddy. Who else was there? In the C's, Dave Miner. Look like a pretty new, man. Welcome to the sport. Decent numbers, though. Pretty good, man. You should be throwing in the B's, immediately. Lightweight, Ted Van Vleck, making the world tour as usual. First place in the lightweight class, 34.6 Braemar, 38.9 open stone, 35.2 heavyweight, 55.2 lightweight. Who cares? What do you do in sheaf? All right, 30 feet in the sheaf. There we go. Let's see. The rest of these are kind of breakout master scores. And then let's see. Women, Alyssa Hapner, traveled with Ted. No shock there. Took first place handily by 8 points. Masters women, Melanie Mellinger. It's a lot of the same name. That's a lot of the same sounds in one name. Not going to lie to you. Melanie Mellinger. You could flip those. It wouldn't make a lot of difference. Congrats, though, Melanie. Good games. Get the win in the Masters women there. So there we go. So are you guys all HASA champions? Congratulations on your HASA championships. All right, Kerr County Highland Games. This happened close to home. I usually compete in this one, obviously given the state of the world and the universe and the state of the beach. I did not do it. Also, my son had a baseball tournament, and as I've mentioned many times, I like him better than I like all y'all. So, and they had a really good tournament too, and he had a really good showing pitching. So it was very cool. High praise from his coaches. Made me very, very happy. He used his legs when he was throwing. If you're one of my heavy light athletes, you'll know exactly how I was feeling and the kind of stuff I was saying. But I have to shut my mouth when I'm in the stands. That's the thing. I'm seriously with baseball, with being like a baseball dad. I coached him for many, many years. You know, I came from a baseball family and everything, played ball myself. And I coached him and taught him and a lot of the other buddies and kids. Some of the other kids that are even on this select team that he's on, this travel team that he's on, I've even coached them before. But I really am, because I coached, I'm like a model dad. And not just my looks, guys. Don't always go to my looks. It makes me feel weird. It makes me feel so shy. But I really am. I try to be a model dad in terms of like positivity. I don't coach my kid from the stands. I don't yell and scream. I don't yell at umpires. I don't get pissed at other teams. I don't cause drama or anything like that. I mean, literally, my kid, one of the things I'm most proud of, when he goes up to bat, when he's on the mound, he's in the field, he doesn't look for me in the stands, and he never turns and looks for me for approval or disapproval about anything that he does. I don't exist. All I am is, let's go, buddy. That's it. I cheer. And then when he's done playing, I tell him, man, did you have fun? Awesome. I love watching you play. That's like the script every time. Obviously, I do some like coaching in person with, like at home with him, or we'll talk in the truck on the way back a little bit. But the first reaction is, did you have fun? I loved watching you play. That's the response. That's it. But I'm like a model dad. But when he gets on the mound, I have to I watch, but I bury my head in my lap in between. And I just mutter things to myself about like technical stuff and about things going on with like umpiring, stuff like that. Like I cannot contain. I have to preoccupy myself like with conversation, or like just looking around, or talking something highly technical about throwing with my wife, who I'm sure is very irritated by it at this point because she's heard lots of technical things about all kinds of throwing all the time. But I have to keep my mind busy, because that's the time that I want to like say like, like it just, it's tempting to want to try to coach from the sidelines then. I don't do it, but it's very tempting. Glove side, finish, push off the rubber, use your legs, like all that kind of stuff. Just that particular, because it's throwing, man. Like throwing is what I fucking do. Like it's my thing. I coach lots of people in throwing, not just my son, but it's different. It's different because it's not a paid relationship between me and him. I'm his dad. And if I yell something, he's going to listen to me more than he listens to any other coach who knows more than I do. And by the way, that's the beautiful part about this travel team that he's with. The coaches, they are so much better than I would be. They are better coaches. They were better ball players. They reached a much higher level than I did, because I just played in high school. Not that hard to get a higher level than that if you take the sport seriously. These guys played pro ball, and they're better at coaching, and they know baseball and can teach baseball better than I do. So it's really nice, because I can just shut my stupid mouth, but it's really hard to do when he's pitching. For some reason, it's the pitching thing, it's the throwing thing. It's really hard, and like I fall victim to the like putting myself in his shoes and the vicarious thing, but I still control it. So there's no excuse. Like I feel all the same shit that all the loudmouth dads and all the guys who can't shut up and they're coaching their kids and like giving their kids advice, and they're screaming advice over the coaches that are supposed to be coaching. I'm like, It gives you no excuse because I feel all the same things you do, but I don't do it. Anyway, all that to lead into the Kerrville Highland Games, but that's why I was not there. It was baseball, and look, man, it's hunting season. It's gonna be really hard to get me out of the house to go to Highland Games during hunting season right now. I got a big giant pig too. I'll get back to that. That's not it's not a thing about my wang that I'm talking about. I literally went hunting for pigs. I'm not just saying I got a big giant hog or a big giant pig. I'm saying that I went hunting. Anyway, Kerr County Highland Games. Kerbal. Amateur Hayden Ballio, Pirate Captain, first place handily, like really handily. Like Zach Church was second place, 25 points. He's in first place, 9 points. So yeah, that was pretty handy. That was really just it was the Hayden show. Bramerstone 44.8, Open Stone 56.3. That's big. Heavyweight 34.8, not bad. Lightweight for distance 76.9. Yeah, it's getting there. We need to get back over 80 though. I helped get you to 80, bro. What are you doing? Why are you regressing on me? I thought we had a deal. Heavy hammer, 107, pretty good. Light hammer 127, also pretty good. Caber 1210, sheaf. It's 39 feet, but it's a 16-pounder. It's silly for somebody of Hayden's level to be throwing a 16-pound sheaf. There's no point. You're just going to get audacious numbers like this. And he's got to be throwing a 20, but whatever, it's fun. 13 on the wob, huh, Hayden? I'd be interested to know what happened there. Those are Mike Beach-esque numbers on the wob there. I couldn't throw 13 if I tried right now. Zach Church, second place. Kyle Parsons, third place. A lot of people in that amateur class. Looks like you ran it as an open. Masters class. Mike Dickens. This was a good Masters class, actually, showed up. You had top three was Dickens, my boy Jack Coleman, and Dwayne Fowler. That's a good group, man. And then Jeremy Barron. Jeremy threw? What the fuck? That's awesome, dude. Oh, man, I can't believe I didn't go. I feel really bad now. That would have been super fun. But yeah, that's a good top five right there. Let's get into the numbers a little bit. On the opens, on the Bramerstone, Dickens went 36.8.5. Coleman 36.9. Beat him. Ooh, there you go, Jack. Steal one from that bastard. Openstone. Ooh, shit. Dickens went 49.7. Is that a record? Is that some sort of Masters record in the age group or something? That's gotta be. Is Dickens 50 yet? Dickens, are you 50 yet? By the way, you never texted me back about the other thing. We need to get Dickens on the podcast. We got big stuff to talk about. 49.7. That's a big throw, man. It's a big throw. Big up to Marcelo Durasso, the AD of that games, for sneaking in an underweight stone, so Mike could do that. I think that's a really cool thing of him to do. But 49.7 is big. I don't care how underweight it is. If I could throw a 14-pound stone, 49.7, I'd still be thrilled myself. I don't care what it weighs. No matter what it weighs, Mike, you're a winner today. It's a stone that makes. I've thrown it before. It's fine. Heavyweight for distance with the 42, 46 feet 10 inches. Nice throw. Lightweight for distance 65.11. I've seen him throw further. Heavy hammer 83, light hammer 103. These are all Dickens numbers. Caber 12. It's pretty much all. There's not a lot of Masters Cabers that Dickens doesn't turn a 12 on. Sheaf 33 with the 16-pound. That's pretty good, man. And then weight bar 17.6. And then Coleman kind of nipping at his heels for some of these events. He was still 8 points behind, but yeah, it's just he was nipping at the heels on a lot of them, but he just didn't get the wins. He's pretty big distance on weights. Jack went 40 and 57 on the weights. Hammers. But yeah, he's nipping at him in Caber and Sheep. He threw a 30. Jack threw 30, and he matched him in weight over bar with 17.6. How about those weights and hammers, huh, Jack? Those are cool, huh? Then Dwayne bringing up third. Decent numbers, too. So that's a classic Texas thing right now, man. Masters class is just rocking at a lot of these games. It's been that way for a few years now. Let's see. Women. Emily Humphreys taking first place, 11 points. Kimberly Lim, heavy light athlete, longtime heavy light athlete, taking second place, moving up the ranks. I like it. Michaela Garcia Bab. So don't drop the Bab off your name. We all know. Emily Humphreys with 28.5 on the Braemar, 40 feet on the open stone, 38.9.5 on the heavyweight, 69.10 on the lightweight, 65.8 on the heavy hammer, light hammer 76.6, 12 on the caber, 29 on the sheaf, 14 on the weight of a bar. Kim Lim, right behind on some of these events, pretty close actually. Lost by 6 points, but again, another kind of nipping at the heel situation in a few events here. Only a foot behind on Braemar. A little far behind on the open stone. 60-foot lightweight for distance, though. 61 heavy hammer, 75 light. Some bigger hammer throwers in this ladies group. Come on, y'all. 45 on the caber. Emily's the only one throwing the caber. I guess I give him a tough one. 29 on the sheaf. Kim, nice job. Get that 30 on the board. And then 14 on the weight for height. It's a good day. It's a benefit of being a heavy light athlete. Benefit or downside that you're always going to get your numbers called out if you're a heavy light athlete. If you have a shitty day, I'm still going to go through it. So that was cool. That was cool. Ironmonger's Gym. That's in California. I'm going to go to this one because I know the people at that gym. And it's the one and only Felicia Baltrin leading the way. Throwbros sponsored athlete. So in the amateur A group, only got two. You got Mike Baltrin taking the win. And then you got a lightweight guy, Arkady. Ooh. This is going to make the all-time name list, maybe. Arkady Unterleidner. Wow. I want to say that's super German, but that may be some new shit that I haven't even heard about. Maybe that's some new country. It's like an offshoot of Germany that I don't even know about yet. Masters 40-49. Rick Simmons taking the win. I don't think I know Rick. Good numbers, Rick. 48-8 on the open stone from Rick. Look at you. These are Dickens-esque in his numbers, Joe. Rick Simmons, 39-3 on the Braemar, 48-8 on the open, 45-11 on the weight for distance, 67-4 on the lightweight. Sorry, 45-11 on the heavyweight for distance, 104-3 on the light hammer. That's probably what I throw right now. And that guy's probably older than me and a lot more injured and has less excuses than, or more excuses than me. I don't know, which is worse. Caber, 230. Weight price 61. Good day, Rick. That's awesome, dude. John O'Neill's still at it in California. Throwing in the Masters class now. Sean Smith, bringing up third. But this is what we really care about in this group. The women's group. Felicia and Jarvina Rout going at it. First place, Felicia Baker. Ooh. Did I call her? No. She's still in the database as Baker. Okay, but she's Felicia Baltrin now. She's Mrs. Mike Baltrin. So the Baltrin couple, the Baltrins were the winners on the day. Nice job, Baltrins. So Felicia taking the win. Pretty decent numbers. Let's see if anything huge, anything massive. Pretty good hammers. 15 weight over bar. Jarvina right behind, just a few points behind. That had to be a fun day. I got to get out there and throw with those guys one time. That'd be really fun. I've said that for like 3 years, never done it. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just full of shit. You guys ever think about that? You guys ever listen to this and just immediately think, oh, that guy's full of shit? You should. And then there's another one in here, Pandemic Non-Game. Yeah, it looks like a backyard. It's just one big amateur group. But hey, good on you guys for getting out there and throwing. Right? So yeah, I got a Big Giant Hog. I went hunting with a new buddy from, he's a new hunting buddy that's one of the dads of one of the other baseball players on my son's travel team. Hey, make that relationship more complicated. Just say new buddy. How's that? Just got a new hunting buddy. Nobody really cares about the background. They care about the Big Giant Hog. He has a spot close to town. It's about 20 minutes away and a couple of blinds set up on. He said, we're welcome to come out there and shoot some pigs if we want to. And Evan and I went out there and sat. Evan's bow broke 2 minutes before the pigs showed up. Somehow the peep sight of his bow just fell loose. So I was like fiddling with that. And he goes, Daddy, pigs. And in rolls a big sounder of pigs. And they're just rolling through eating. I picked out a big mama. She was a sow. Obviously, being female, that's what she would be. Put an arrow to her. And fast forward to the end of the story. We got her, dragged her back to the truck, took her apart, got a cooler full of meat now. So that's cool. That was fun. That was the first time I posted about this. Is that Evan and I have been hunting a lot and hunting and fishing, but it's always worked out that he's never seen me kill a large animal. And this was the first time that he had seen that in person. I was really impressed with how like psychologically smooth he was with everything and how matter of fact he was and how quickly and easily he communicated his impressions of things and how he felt about things. And that there was no freak out. And it's just, it was nice. You know, it was nice to see that. And it was good to share that experience with him. And, you know, he's not a, he's not a gross and yuck and dirty hands blood kid yet. I mean, maybe he'll get there. I don't know if I wasn't that age either. Some kids are, some kids aren't. He's not. So he did not partake so much. You know, he was in contact with the animal, but he did not partake of the, you know, the cleaning, you know, the cleaning and the skinning. He was not part of that whole thing. But it was very cool. Yeah, just to have him just first time in a new spot be successful like that and do that with new friends, and him and the other kid who's on his team are out there. So they got to, you know, dick around and do kid stuff and do Fortnite dances in the woods with headlamps on. And then they went exploring, and I think the other kid got freaked out by a coyote howling or something. So it was fun. Like it was good. They just got to be out on land and just dick around and be kids. And we got blood all over our hands. And now she was a 130-pound sow. It was really cool. I just picked the biggest target that I could in that sounder of pigs and flung an arrow out there, and it turned out good. So that's it's not really Highland game stuff, but that's what's going on with me, and that's the kind of stuff I've been doing instead of going and throwing Highland games. Because hey, like I said, it's hunting season. Still stupid hot though for most of the day, but that's Texas for you. You know, something that has come up. Speaking of kind of stepping away from games season, something that's come up, and I know this has been the topic of discussion with me on lots of different platforms before, is like, but the off season is coming. And I get lots of questions, and and not in like the YouTuber way where it's like, a lot of people have been asking me, like legitimately, I do get people asking me this. I promise. It's not a lot of people, but maybe like 3 or 4 in the past month. Okay. It's not like, you know, a lot of you are a lot of you are DMing me. It's like, no, it's not like that. But legitimately, it is a valid question that people ask about training and stuff. And I did write a book thing about it, so I can understand why people would ask me, why am I so defensive about this? What am I doing right now? Here, take a drink of your hard seltzer, man. You need to chill a little bit. This is also a hard seltzer that has a little bit of jalapeno in it. And nothing has really demonstrated for me like how much air I suck in as I drink a beverage as having a drink with jalapeno in it, because I choke on the spice and get watery eyes like every time. Let's see how I do here. You hear that big inhale is going on my drink? That's how you get the jalapeno in your system. That's why you start tearing up. Oh, it's so good though. It's got just a little burn tingle, just a little bit of, just a little bit of, you know, just a little bit of. I like it. What the fuck was I talking about? Jesus Christ. Off season being defensive. Yeah, I needed a drink for that. So yeah, people do ask about that. And oddly enough, I am probably my highest honor in the Highland Games is that I am a moderator of the Highland Games subreddit. r/Highland Games on Reddit. So I'm a moderator there. So don't come talking shit, because I'll ban you or I'll shadow ban you. I don't know how any of it works. I've never done like a mod thing at all. I just read stuff and contribute once in a while. Anyway, it comes up about off-season training and stuff like that. You know, generally the off-season approach, right, that I have espoused in both book and in person and with my athletes is that this is the time at first when you're done with your season for the most part. Maybe you have a few straggler games that you do for fun, like dick around with friends in the fall and early winter or whatever. But in general, like the big competitive season, if you're an AM or a pro, a top AM or a pro, is over. So it's time to start kind of transitioning a little bit. If you're treating it like a season, it's really the time to spend a couple of weeks, and 2 to 4 weeks, just kind of recovering and just doing like, you know, just exercise for fun, and just let your injuries heal and let, you know, your hands fucking heal up and stuff. And, you know, all the stuff that comes with it, like let your hips kind of loosen up and stop hurting so much. Give your lower back a rest, give your throwing shoulder and elbow a rest, your grip muscles and everything. Just kind of just chill for a little bit. Don't worry about throwing. Go a 3 weeks without throwing, without touching an implement or whatever. It's not a problem for me, by the way. Like, oh, I got to go a couple weeks without touching an implement. Oh, however will I do it? But that's the time that's the way you should start your off season, in my opinion. Just chill, just actually rest and relax. Don't try to invent the next cool recovery protocol. just fucking chill and relax and don't do anything for a little while. And then in terms of lifting, I think you need to start looking at rolling yourself up volume-wise. Do, low to moderate weight for higher volume. And the whole idea of that is generally just, some people do their 10 by 10s and all that kind of crazy shit if you want. So you can take a more bodybuilding approach. But in general, you just want to recover some of the muscle that you lost from training more like an athlete and competing regularly. And, if you're very, very serious about this, that's how it's going to be. So spend some time packing on some muscle or putting some muscle back. That's about it. And just greasing the groove, getting connective tissues, back up to speed with lifting, all the kind of good shit that comes along. Just stimulus, man. Just good stimulus overall without really straining yourself. And then on the throwing side, as you start stepping back into it, throw once a week. Once or twice a week. If you're one of those crazy people that I have to do more, throw twice a week. And do a ton of drills. Pick an event and do a lot of drills and partials and variations for that. And then do a few fulls at the end at low intensity just so you don't forget how to throw. That's fine. Everybody thinks they're going to forget how to fucking throw. If you've been throwing long enough, more than a few years, you won't forget how to fucking throw. So do the work, do the small work. That's the time. And then that's how you should spend a good portion of your off season, honestly. That's how I do it with my athletes. That's how a lot of the athletes that I came up with and learned from did it, is you just spend a lot of that time you rebuild muscle mass, you do high volume work, you're greasing the groove and working up to where you're going to be in good shape to handle a strength block or whatever you're jumping into, whether you're jumping back into like full triphasic or anything like that. Be to where have yourself to where you're going to be in good condition. You've packed on some muscle mass and you've greased the groove and you're in the groove for lifting and stuff like that without having torn yourself up. And then on the throwing side, you just do the small work. Do the drills, do the empty hand drills, do the footwork, do the small things. Rotational throwers, do your wheel drills, do your cast and drops a million times, do a million hammer winds with no throw, no payoff. Just do, all that kind of stuff. Do your line drills, do your fucking walking winds with the hammers, all this. Do the small stuff a lot and really, really emphasize the usefulness of those things. And get yourself used to moving. That's the thing I've talked about previously as well on this podcast, is there's thousands of reps of just moving, like mechanically moving rotationally, or if you're in the glide, or for the weights rotationally, or hammer throwing. There are empty hand movement fundamentals that if you don't do a college throwing program, if you're not a collegiate thrower, that you just don't have, and you have to make up the gap. The off season is a great time to do that shit, man. Just move, do your footwork, do lots of different footwork drills, find new and fun footwork drills to do if you're not following any kind of coaching or programming. If you're following my coaching or programming, I will help you with that. Good a spot as any. I'll plug Heavy Light Coaching. Heavy Light Coaching, you can find that on my website at mikebeach.com. You click on coaching, you'll find that there is Heavy Light Throws Programming. That gives you weekly throws programming, tells you exactly what you need to be doing based on where you are in the season. If we're going to be talking off season, we're going to be doing a lot of the stuff I was just talking about. And then as you progress into preseason, in season, and as your season tapers down, all that stuff will be programmed appropriately. In addition, if you have big games in the middle of the year, there's a peak season for you there. Also, for what you're doing in the weight room, Heavy Light Lifting is available for that as well. It will give you exactly what you need in the off season. It's prescribed. It's built exactly for Highland Games throwers. It's not a cookie cutter program. Nothing wrong with cookie cutter programs, by the way. There's nothing wrong with just building general strength. That will never go wrong. But this is a program that's built and it's tailored to Highland Games athletes, and it's going to guide you through a season the same way that we're doing with the throwing. So, MikeBeach.com. Go to coaching. You can sign up there if you got questions. Just hit me up. You guys know where to find me. You can do that. So I will say that the way I'm handling things with my athletes is going to be, preview for the heavy light athletes who may be listening to this. Why you would listen to me even more than you already do, that's a mystery. But if you are, heads up, here's what's coming. It's going to be a little bit of a different off season, not fundamentally throw everything out the window kind of different. But I think we're going to spend a little bit more time, probably a little more time tapering out of throwing regular in-season style throwing into an off-season throwing, just because we haven't had the grind in the middle of the year of competing every week kind of stuff. Some of my athletes have competed more than others, so they might get a different look But a lot of the athletes are gonna, they haven't competed as much. They're just not ground down as much. So we may have some extra energy to work with, so a few extra weeks that we can get some throwing in that we might not normally. And that's a good thing. But the other thing that I really do want to do is I do want to emphasize the thing that I kind of went off on a minute ago. And I would invite anybody listening, if you're getting into your off season, to use this opportunity to build yourself an extended off season. Because you have nothing but time. And even if you're continuing to do, like with my athletes, if they're doing throwing, if they're doing, they have like a standard setup of their throwing day where they, like drills, variations, fulls, that kind of thing. You can start really paying attention to the small details of your throwing more than kind of like, hey, how fast is it moving? Am I hitting these right? Just the positions I care about, and am I getting it out there? What's the distance like? What's my finish like? All that kind of stuff. The things you have to get more economical about as you go through the season. Like, let's just focus on the stuff that's working for me and make sure the stuff gets working. Well, we could take a little bit longer now, even if we haven't, like, if we don't completely change your throwing, we can start emphasizing that stuff a little bit more. Like, hey, how long is my left foot on the ground? Right, I always talk as a right-handed throw first, but how long is my post leg on the ground before I move it into posting position? Or, where is my right elbow at the top of a hammer throw? Like, all that kind of stuff. Like, how far out, what's my stick hand, what's my rear hand doing in the sheath right now? Do I need to revisit that again? So, you can start looking at those little things a little sooner, because usually I try to get an athlete away from that in the middle of a season, like a preseason. As we start moving away from it into the end season, especially as we go into peak season, we stop worrying about the little shit so much, because at some point, in a sense, the cement is dry on your technique, and you need to start work. If the technique is in that acceptable gray to green zone, basically, you're not in the red zone to where like you're going to fall over or get hurt. At a certain point, we just got to start putting our foot on the gas a little bit and add some speed and explosiveness and intensity to technique that is good enough. And so there's a lot of times in the season that I'll tell athletes not to worry about that. So what I'm saying is, you have permission, in my mind, if I were your coach, that I would say you have permission to start examining that stuff sooner now, because the demands of the season have just been different and they've been absent in some ways. That sound is my fingers popping in the mic. How's that sound for everybody? Are they enjoying that? See if I can get all of them. One more. Got it. So yeah, take the time, start getting a little bit more granular now, instead of waiting a little later in the off season, because the season's more or less kind of petering out, and it petered out a long time ago. So use this time as an extended off season to start getting more granular now. Shift your mindset. Then you get to that point where you start breaking down to 1 and 2 throwing sessions a week in my programming that are like more study intensive days that are about 1, sometimes 2 events, but most times 1 event where we're really, really digging down, getting super granular, and really getting into the details, the idiosyncrasies, and the things we need to iron out in your technique. So then use that time, and you can extend that even longer, because I don't know when the fucking season's coming back, but this is a good time to maybe spend an extended off season in that, and then also maybe an extended off season in not just building back muscle that you lost or, from competing or anything like that. Maybe try to get ahead of the curve, maybe gain a little bit more muscle and size if that's your jam, if that's where you're looking to be, and even if you are a lightweight competitor, like, think about putting on, okay, can I swap out some of this body fat for more muscle mass because I have an extended time period to do so? Like, I've got all of October, to start really working on that. I can get a 3-week head start on when I would normally go. It's just stuff to think about. I think you just have to be a little bit more positive right now and look at this weird season and the inability to have like a structure like we've had. And instead, try to find something positive in that. I mean, I know that's not my normal jam here, is to be super Captain Optimist. Actually, I am super optimistic. And underneath it all, I definitely understand that being a pessimist is much more funny. It's much better for humor to be pessimistic, but really, like, underneath it all, I kind of believe everything's going to be good. Everything's going to be all right. Most people are about as happy as they make up their minds to be, and I've made up my mind to be a very happy person. What an annoyingly positive message to end a podcast on. Oh, God. It went on my nose. Heavy Light is brought to you by Throw Bros. Throw Bros is the only online store for Highland Games athletes. Gear up, get throwing. Use code HEAVYLIGHT, all one word. You're going to save 10% at throwbros.com.